Joining me here today, it's the one, the only, of course, Brian Kelleher, set to compete at UFC 272 against Umar Nurmagomedov. What's going on, sir? How are you?
Boom, what's going on? How's everything?
Everything's good, man. I'm seeing your name everywhere in the news, though, and it's not necessarily to talk about you, right? I'm seeing everywhere UFC star wants Conor McGregor, Khabib, all this stuff, and I mean, you've managed to sort of breach the mainstream. It looks like.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're doing what we can to get the name out there and to kind of stir the pot and build some momentum going into this fight. And I think that's the name of the game these days. It's not just the fight business, but the entertainment business. You got to find ways to get creative, have fun with it, and that's what I'm doing.
I feel like that's something you've always understood though, right? Because you asked for Sean O'Malley. Obviously, it's a very hard one for everyone to get, but some fighters they want to just, oh, I'm here for the fight and that's it. But it feels like you understood early on, like you need to add a little bit of spice to it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to do things on social media. I mean, that's the name of the game. A lot of these fights get built off of you getting out and saying stuff and causing ruckus or whatever and making more excitement for the fans. Give them some kind of headline, some kind of story to follow and get more interested in these fights because there's so many fights. Every week there's fight after fight, and you got to stand out somehow with the uniforms and all that stuff. Like there's only so many ways that you can be different in this game, so you have to find those ways.
Well, I assume it's got to be even tougher because your opponent is not really famous for talking, right? It's kind of on you to promote it, right? You can't count on Umar to come out there and, Brian, you taking everything I've worked for.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but also like his last name speaks for himself. I think like that does everything for him and
Right.
for me too. I mean, to fight a guy with that last name, a lot of hype behind him, undefeated record. Khabib in his corner. I mean, those are all things that kind of self promote without anything done. So on my end, I'm just trying to have fun with it and kind of bring that to the attention of the fans and kind of get everyone involved and have fun with it.
Do you have any casuals that go in your DM and think that you're fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov? I assume there's got to be a lot of people. It's like, oh, you're fighting Khabib, and it's like, nah, read the full name.
No, no. I mean, not the Habib stuff, but definitely some casuals going after me about just why are you taking this fight, and just a lot of hate and trash talk and this and that. And it's like, man, we're fighters. Like this is what we do for our lives, and like I'm not one to turn down fights, and I like challenges. That's part of this game, and trying to figure out like how good you really are. So I like fighting an undefeated guy with that last name with a lot of hype behind him. Like that motivates me.
I think that we see that a lot in MMA too. There's this talk of, fighters are scared of other fighters and stuff. Like we saw Kat Zingano and Cyborg, they have that weird thing. And a lot of people were answering my post saying, oh, Kat's scared of Cyborg. Can you blame her? But it seems kind of odd to me to say that like a fighter is scared of another fighter.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you on that. I think it's more so like we're all nervous to go in and fight
Right.
somebody on live television, but like to say scared, like, oh my God, I don't want to do this or whatever, like that's not the case. We all are down to fight whoever pretty much, but I do think some guys look at it a little bit differently, strategically, business wise, like picking stylistic, favorable matchups and stuff like that. And I'm just really not that guy. Like I know that this could be stylistically a rough fight for me, but that's the point is I want to challenge myself and I want to overcome that and I want to show that I can be better than this guy. And that is more valuable than a lot of things in a sport. Is like to just find how good you can be against a challenging opponent that really brings things to the table that in your heart, like, all right, that's not going to be easy. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point if it's all going to be easy? So I'm looking forward to a tough fight and trying to solve the puzzle.
How honest are you with yourself heading into a matchup like this? Sound like you're very honest about, where you are, where he is. A lot of fighters, they come in and it's like, I don't care, I'm going to win, blah, blah, blah. They don't know how to sort of look at it tactically, but it sounds like you're looking at this fight very technically.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've always prided myself on being real, not just with everybody else, but with myself. I mean, if you're lying to yourself, then, there's a big issue there. So I'm always keeping it real with myself. And I understand, what's at stake and what this guy's good at and what he brings to the table and what I bring to the table, where I am in my career. It's like not everybody is like ready to challenge for a title. You have to understand that. Like, where are you at? What's a good next move? What can you do with a win against someone like this? You have to be aware of all those things. So for me, I understand, I guess if you want to call it like a mid-tier guy, I'm a veteran of the sport, but a win over this guy who has a lot of hype, the last name, the undefeated record, like yes, this can give me a top 15 opponent next, or maybe the O'Malley fight or something like that. But it's not like I'm gonna beat this guy and get like a top 5 guy, and I know that. So you got to kind of figure out where you're at.
Is there extra pressure riding into a fight like this? Because you win this one, not only do you take his O, but that's 3 in a row, like you mentioned, potentially a top 15 opponent. That's gotta add, like, an extra sprinkle of pressure for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing extra about it. There's always pressure going into these fights just because you wanna win. I just signed a new deal with the UFC, so I'm happy about that. But what that means is like there's more money on the table. So I got a house, I got bills. I wanna make double the money instead of half. And that's how this sport is. You lose, you get half that paycheck, and that's like the pressure there is like, man, I really want to get paid what I'm getting paid right now in full, maybe even get a bonus and make it all worth it. But yeah, there is always a little pressure. But I think the pressure's on this guy, man. I mean, he's undefeated. He has not lost. He has to hold up to that Nurmagomedov name and Khabib's whole career. He's in the shadow of that. So to me, this guy holds a lot more pressure. For me, I'm going in with nothing to lose. I got to go in and try to take this guy's O, keep my win streak going, and just be myself and just keep doing what I'm doing. Roll with the momentum.
But where are you at with all the rap stuff, man? Because I know at one point you were like, you're gonna start posting stuff. Well, you were posting stuff every day. There's some other fighters that rap that say they want to rap battle you and stuff. Like it sounds like things are getting a little bit serious.
Yeah, you know what? This is another avenue of just who I am. Different flavor to add to the recipe. Like I like to write music and rap a little bit. So you put it out there, people are gonna critique it, kind of call you out and stuff. And I think it's fun. The Thug Nasty's doing his thing with his music. I think that's cool. Maybe we got to get a battle rap going. Maybe we even team up and make some music together. Like I'm down for whatever. This is all stuff that's gonna help you stand out amongst the rest of the fighters. Like I was saying before, it'd be nice if we can uh, have sponsorships and put stuff on our shorts still and get money and endorsements and stuff like during fight week. But these are ways outside of the cage to stand out. And it's not like I'm trying too hard. I'm myself. I love music. I like to write. I like to get creative. So I do it with my downtime.
And speaking of that, I know I've asked you this in the past, but what are the chances like you walk out to your own song? Like, have you sat down to think about that, or is that not really something you're interested in?
No, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. I mean, I think that I'm just waiting to kind of make like a really solid piece of art that I can walk out to. I don't want to walk out to just any song that I've made or any kind of style song. Like I want to make sure it's like fight music, like it's something that really gives me chills and gets me focused and in the zone. My dad actually, he writes music, he plays guitar, he sings and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I grew up and was around music and everything. So he actually has wrote a song for me actually to walk out to. So I might actually do that in the future as well. I think he just needs to get like a good producer to kind of break it all down, make it sound professional, and then we could think about walking out to that.
What kind of music does your dad make? I mean, I strongly doubt it would be rap. I mean, what kind
Yeah.
of music does he make?
He kind of mixes it up. I'd say it's more like a rock and roll type of style, like the oldies kind of thing. But he could just sing like a regular song, just like a soft singing song. He made like a kind of like a warrior theme type of song, but he sings. It's like you know, it's hard to explain, but it's definitely not rap.
What does he think of you rapping? 'Cause I know my father, he was huge into rock, and then just when he found out I listened to rap, he got really mad. Like, I assume your father must have had a much better reaction.
Yeah, I mean, he's into music in general, and I don't think he's out there listening to too much rap himself, but like I think he's proud of what I do, and he likes to watch me entertain and do my thing and just be myself. So he's definitely checking it out, and I think he likes to see me doing my thing and just being happy and doing what I love.
So getting to the stuff with Conor McGregor, man, what are the chances that he's going to be in your corner? Do you think that's something you guys can make happen?
Honestly, probably not. I mean, it's definitely something that was fun to throw out there, and I think if it did happen, it would really, it's a genius move because if it happened, it would blow up my whole fight, make my
Yeah.
fight 10 times bigger. Headlines, all that stuff you need exposure in this sport. So it'd be a great favor if he could do that for me. And I know, like, for him, he loves staying in the limelight. Khabib's going to be across the cage in Umar's corner. So that just makes for an epic situation right there. I thought it would be fun.
How do you think your coaches would react though? Because you'd have to tell someone like, "Hey, man, you're not going to be at this fight for this one. 'Cause Conor McGregor is taking your spot." How would they react to something like that?
It'd probably be my dad, honestly, because like
Oh,
he's coming a corner for this fight because one of my jujitsu coach, Steve, he couldn't make this fight, so I had to replace him. I figured give my dad the experience. He's been there before in the corner. It's like that real support system there. He's not someone that's going to give me like real high level technical advice, but he is someone that I can look at, that can look at me and say like, hey, like, let's go, get up and let's do this. And give me a little bit of motivation to fight for my family. So it'll be nice to have him, but I'd have to kick him out if Connor said yes.
that's so cruel. I mean, I know there's a
Yeah.
clickbait headline in there, like you just boot your dad for Conor McGregor, but at the same time, he'd understand, right? Like if you're gonna get bumped for anyone, it may as well be the notorious.
Oh yeah, he would 100% get it. And like, he loves coming, like he's a big fan of the sport and everything, but he doesn't mind staying home with my mom watching the fight and everything like that if he had to. He's usually not in my corner. He's been in there a couple times, but my brother, my striking coach, they're both going to be there. So, it would have been fine with just those two, but I figured why not fill the spot, give my dad the experience. I know he loves being there for fight week, so
How is it for him? Like, there's a difference between watching it on TV and then seeing a guy get punched in the face live. Like, it's a whole different reaction. How does he kind of react? Like, he's going to be in the corner. He's going to see the fight, firsthand.
I think he's pretty much used to it. I mean, I'm sure he's nervous like me and like everyone else, but he does a good job at just kind of keeping it together. I think he's done it enough times now where like it's not like a foreign thing to him or like too overwhelming. I think he's just genuinely like my dad's a huge fan of the sport. Like he's on Twitter looking at everyone's tweets and John Anik and this and that. Like he follows everybody. So he loves being involved with the sport. I think it's cool for him to kind of come along with me along the ride.
All right, man. Against this fight with Umar Nurmagomedov, how are you sort of looking at the matchup in this one? Because it sounds like you've sort of, figured this one out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that to me when I look at him, I don't see like the exact same thing as all of these other Russian fighters. He seems a little different to me. He likes to throw a lot of check mark kicks. He uses front kicks, side kicks, stuff like that to keep you at bay. And then, of course, they all are going to have that grappling base. He does like to eventually look for takedowns, try to get your back, look for position. But he just, he of course presents challenges that I've faced. I've had so many fights. I have a lot of experience over this guy. I have, this is my 14th fight in the UFC. This is his second. So I have a lot of experience edge over him. And I think that's a factor that not many people focus on, but I definitely think that's a big deal.
How does it feel for you saying, 14th fight in the UFC? Like, that's an accomplishment. I know when we go on your social media, you were talking about how you were down and out. Like, it must be a pretty prideful feeling knowing that, 14 fights in.
Yeah, it feel like it flew by. It's crazy. Just feels like yesterday I made my debut in Brazil, but it is a cool feeling because it's hard to get to the UFC, but it's even harder to stay. And I know everybody wants to become a champion, but I take pride in the fact that I'm a company guy, I'm a veteran, and I'm a household name. I think the UFC likes me. I step up on short notice. I bump up weight class. I do different things that not every fighter is going to be willing to do. I take fights that people might say no to. So those are things that hold high in the company, and I plan to stay here, till the end for a long time.
All right, man. One last question for you. Easy one, obvious one. That's how we end our interviews. How do you see yourself getting your hand raised?
I see myself just being aggressive, really being motivated by the fact that everyone's writing me off in this fight and just getting in this guy's face, make him uncomfortable, make him do something out of character and catch him on the way in.
All right, man. We look forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Hopefully, we can make Conor McGregor happen, but I assume your dad in the corner has got to be just as good. Thank you for the time, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thank you.